I'm Paul, this is Polymate 3D, and today we're going to be making FD51-4OS. Let's go. Okay, so before we get started on assembling FD51-4OS, we just want to make sure we've got everything we're actually going to need. So we'll start with the printing components, which is the chassis, the cone, the back cap, the surround, the spider, and then on to other components. We're going to need the magnets. These are currently 15mm wide, 10mm deep M35 magnets. That is actually all you need for the motor. However, to improve strength, you can also use 4 steel-based washers. They have to be steel-based washers. Majority of stainless steel washers you'll find won't be magnetic, and so they won't serve a purpose with this. We need glue. In my case, I'm using contact adhesive. Now, for sticking down certain parts, I use this copper tape, just 2 tiny pieces. Although sellotape or masking tape will work just fine. We're going to need the copper wire, and we need 4 meters of this wire, either 0.17 or 0.18 millimeters in diameter. Again, 4 meters of that in total to create the impedance we're looking for. And then to take the enamel off, I suggest some sandpaper, just a small piece to take it off. If you haven't got that, if you're careful, you can use a knife against a surface that's not important to you, like a cardboard box, to scrape off part of that enamel, but it is more tricky. Right, let's carry on and start with the first step. So the first step is getting the voice coil and attaching it to the cone that we've printed. Now, all the parts are printed currently in PLA. You can do the chassis and the back cap in PETG if you like. If you do the cone, however, in PETG, do expect a different sound to what I've shown on my videos. You can actually watch the cone one, which talks about PLA, PETG and ABS. You'll be able to see that actually there is a distinct difference when we're using PETG. So first things first, this copper wire we've got to length. We want to take about 30 centimeters of it, and then I place this piece of tape just there like that. The reason for this is that we need a bit of copper wire afterwards in order to be able to wire it up to whatever amplifier we're going to be using. In my case, I'm going to be using a Sony 500 series DH amplifier from a fair few years ago. However, if you're starting out from scratch, the very cheap and effective little PAM 8403 is a good candidate to get you started, especially with the FD51 series. So now we've got this piece of copper tape stuck down on the neck of the cone. We've got a piece of wire running off, and then we've got the rest of it here. Now, at the bottom of the cone, you'll see there's an indent here. This indent is where that wire is going. And I think a lot of people who don't actually look into these videos that I've been making think that you've actually got to do this all really nice and cleanly. Just to clarify, I'm just gluing around that indent at the moment and going all the way around. So typically you would normally need to wind cleanly, but this specific speaker and a lot of the models that I do are underhung designs, and so with this in mind we can literally just start to wind in this gap, and you'll notice that I'm really not being that careful about it. And the reason why is because the gap has been made deliberately larger than the wire needs, so that we can do untying dewinding and still get the same result. The underhung motor also allows us to do this, all that it requires is that we actually keep the wire within this gap. And just keep going. If you come off like that, don't worry, just pull it taut again and keep going. This actual winding technique and the way this is being done is exactly the same as it is on FD51-4PM, the Polymaker edition, and the Patreon edition. However, each one of those becomes more difficult to print. The actual assembly side of things, other than the Patreon edition, are about the same. So now you can see we've got a clean gap there, winding all the way around, not the cleanest, not the worst, and I've got an extension at the end. So I'm just going to lay that down a moment. I'm going to peel this next piece of tape. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to stick that down on the other side, like so, and that just keeps the voice coil nice and where we want it to be. Now, one of the things I do on the majority of my designs is I do run just a small amount of glue again over the finished winding. Normally I would use a piece of kitchen towel, but you can also use standard cloth for this. So I just got a bit of tissue, and just winding it around, pushing down the glue to make sure that the whole thing's going to stick. Now this is where I would suggest to the majority of people that they stop and they just give the actual iron an hour or so, just to let the glue start setting. However, I'm also going to show you in this video that you can do the entire thing in one go. So now what we're doing, we've got the cone neck just here, and we're just running the glue around this section now. Again, don't worry too much how it's going. And then we've got the spider. Now the spider, you'll see, looks very flat. You can tell which way is the right way by, if you look at it at that angle there, it goes upwards. This upwards piece needs to be facing up. And so now we've got the glue on there, and just place the cone down. Make sure it goes snug over the top, and we just push it down into place. Now, as you're pushing it down, it will reach the ridge of the cone itself, and that is what will help it align itself nice and straight for the next step. So the next step is the surround, and you'll see with the surround there is a lip on the inside, just there. Again with the glue, we're just going to run a line of it all the way around. Now I think a lot of people try to be quite careful here, but I have made so that the area that you are gluing, you can touch that next black ridge. I have designed it intentionally so that this whole area is a glued section. Now once we've done that, we'll go all the way around and place it down. Again, I would suggest on some tissue, but it's everyone to their own. And then literally get the cone and push it straight down. Onto the centre of there, and you'll see straight away it's connecting it. It's doing the job it's supposed to do. And that's good. So this would be the second step, but I would then stop and let it dry. Reasons being, A, as it's drying, you can clean up around this cone edge, so you have a cleaner finish at the end. Second reason being that it's going to make it a lot easier for you to assemble this next step once this is actually dry. So now we move on to the chassis. So the chassis, just on the outside ridge here, there's a gap. Now in the first revision of this gap is very narrow and you have to be very exact to make it fit. However, this is a new revision that's coming out tomorrow, and this will be there. You can just check it out. It will be on the Polymate 3D website. I will most likely update the Model 1 Prusa printers as well, just to make sure people know that there is a new, easier one. This will not affect the look of the print, and it will not affect the performance of the print. It's literally there to help aid you in this design, and in fact gets dropped after this model. So where we've got that ridge, again, same glue. We just want to run a bead of it all the way around there. Just like so. And just make sure by shining it in your light, whatever light you've got, that you have covered the whole thing. Better to have too much than too little in this circumstance, because it can be a bit of a pain afterwards. The other thing we want to do, now we've got that glue there, is we also want to do the inside pieces. So that is here, here, and all the way around on each one of those indents. And so hopefully people can see that actually this model really doesn't need a high level of precision. And that is exactly how it was built. It was built around the idea of making it as simple for people to produce as possible. So now we've got the glue there, we need to get these stuck together. Now we've also got these wires, so what we want to do is we want to pass them through these holes so we can get hold of those afterwards. Just going to pass that through. Like so. And you can see that the actual cone and surround and everything's keeping its shape and everything quite well anyway. We then need to let that drop, and the surround has little ridges which now when we push this down it will just pop it into place. So you can see I'm just tapping that around with my thumb. I'm not doing anything special whatsoever. And then down on the insides here, anything will do, a pen or something will do, but just make sure it's seated on that ridge. There we go. So at this point, because it's all quite sticky still, just going to turn it upside down, which then gives us access to the next stage, which is the magnets. So you'll see on the back here, you just got a nice hollow hole, and then we got the two magnets. Now the two magnets are quite strong, so be careful with them. And we can see they quite happily attract this way, and then nicely repel this way. What we want to do is you want to have these crushed together on the inside. And so the way we do this is by getting one, placing it in so we can feel that's repelling. I'm going to drop that one into place, and then we want to push the other one in like that. Now of course if you're using the washers, you put the washers on and you just put one on either side of the two magnets and you apply them in the same way. And then whilst pushing that on, we get the cap, and we just use the cap to place over what we was working on. And then we twist it. Again, making sure the screw threads line up. Which you can see there, it isn't. There we go. And you can see a little bit of the thread still on the inside there. That's just fine. And then if you look at it from the front, you can see it's basically complete. That is a working driver. All we need to do now is clean off the wires and hook it up. So as I said, I'm running a Sony 100-watt amplifier here. I'm being very careful in the process. In the case of yourselves, if you've got an amplifier at home that can deal with a 4 ohm load, go ahead, use it, that'll be just fine. If you haven't, then going with a small cheap amplifier will do the job just fine. So you can go with what's known as a FD51-4OS, which is a tiny little sound controller board that actually powers by USB and can supply 3 watts of power, which for this model driver and 4PM is just fine. For 4PE you can go up to 5 watts, so you could go for something a little bit more stronger, such as the TA2024, TA2020, or ITPA3166. What I'm doing at the moment is literally just sanding off the enamel on the ends of each one of these contacts. Okay, so now we've got our contacts here. So I think a lot of people will be questioning what's the positive, what's the negative. Simplest way of doing that is to plug in a battery to check it, and if your polarity is around the wrong way, that's not a big deal either, as you can quite simply just pull the magnets out and change their polarity, and that will set you off. So at the moment what I'm doing, so I'm just winding tips of this wire around like this. If you're hooking up to an amplifier, you can pass these wires through your PCB and just solder it with some soldering. So this is a soldering iron, some solder. In my case, I'm just winding it to the speaker wires I've already got in place. And you'll see as we're hooking this up. That's it running. So what I know what to do here is just check in to make sure it's not rubbing. And that's it. We just made that in less than 20 minutes. I hope you found the video helpful, and that hopefully makes it a bit less daunting on creating a pair of these drivers. Of course you've got speaker cabinets just as singles as well. You've also got Patreon design cabinets like so that you can make as well if you join on there. Please subscribe if you're interested, and like the video. If you don't like it, or something you don't agree with, or something you're not sure on, please let me know, because I'm always open to building and developing the designs and the ideas on. If you're interested in chatting with me or have any other questions or queries, you can always as well contact me on Twitter, where I'm quite fairly popular and involved with as many people as I can as we continue and develop on. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.